we'll go to heaven, but nobody says that you can find heaven right here and now. And here is a master who says that heaven is right inside you, that you can find it because you have the greatest gift that was ever created, the gift of a human body. People sometimes ask me that there are saints who have shown miracles before. A miracle gives us faith. And my response is this human body not the greatest miracle? Do you see any greater miracle than this? That a single sperm and a single ova forms a single cell and has all the charted characteristics of a human being that is going to be born, builds itself in a body, a piece of flesh inside the mother's womb, and as it grows big, it is still part of the mother. In the 5th month of pregnancy, suddenly something happens and the little piece of flesh becomes alive and kicks the mother and says, I have arrived. Who has arrived? Who has arrived at that time to occupy a piece of flesh that was part of the mother and was suddenly has become an independent person? That life can be put into a piece of flesh so easily, so naturally, isn't that a miracle? It waits for a few months more and gives birth and cries out to expand its lungs and cries for fresh air from this world and starts its journey of life here. And has been able to create within 9 months a body so complex, a body so complicated that you can't imagine anything existing like it. This human body is the greatest miracle of all. Because when you study its anatomy itself, you find it has got trillions of cells, and each cell has a brain of its own called the DNA molecule sitting in the center of the cell, and every cell with its DNA has a complete history of the universe. It contains all the past of everybody and the future of everybody in every cell of this human body. Apart from that, there are miles and miles of nerves inside a small compact body that is communicating between the cells, sending messages, and these cells are so structured, it is better organized than any army of the world. The generals give orders, they are carried out by the different cells. Each cell consists of 46 chromosomes, 23 contributed by the father, 23 contributed by the mother, and those cells are like doors and windows which are closed. Starting from the one single cell sitting in the center of the head, right where the pituitary body and the pineal gland hang right at the center of the head, most protected part, with a skull around it, very well built fortification. That is from where all the 46 chromosomes are working and giving instructions through a vast network of nervous system to every part of the body, and in a graded way going to different levels of cells who give instructions further down to other cells. It's a complete hierarchy, very orderly organized, and the whole army of trillions of cells is working in us like a whole universe of its own in this human body. Apart from the anatomy of this body, which itself is a miracle, the other bigger miracles are that it has a possibility of having life in it. What is life? When you say this body, even if it is dead or alive, has the same anatomy. But when you put life into it, it becomes different. It is able to walk, talk, speak, have a special accent, special way of doing things, special style, special emotions, sadness and grief and anger. That has nothing to do with the structure of the body at all. Where does that come from? Something has got into this body which has created great opportunities, much more than the miraculous anatomy of this body. With practice of studying inside the body, what is inside that is making it happen, we find that the voice that said, I have come in the 5th month of pregnancy, was a new soul carrying its own mind, carrying its own sense perceptions, carrying its own body. It was a different piece of living thing, living being that entered. And therefore, it came out in a birth as an independent being, totally with its own temperament, its own karma, its own life pattern, totally different from everybody else. It came out being produced by the mother, yet its fingerprints from birth were different from billions of other people. Its eye iris, the pattern of the iris in the eye was different from everybody else in the world. How could you have this kind of anatomy? Some life has come in and altered the structure of the body completely. Is this not enough miracle? People say we want to say miracles. Miracles are happening not only around us, we are the miracles. Our bodies are the miracles, the greatest miracle. But the super miracle of all is that within this body, we contain the entire universe that exists outside. Within this body, we include within this body the creator of this universe. We create our own true self and the creator of the self. Now that is, of course, a statement which ought to be verified. Whether this body really contains all these things, anybody can find it out by going within. We have spent our life looking outside at creation. Have we ever tried to see what is inside the body? Have we ever tried to explore that if we were to close our eyes to the outside world, close our ears to the outside sound, where do we land up? What happens inside? Do we merely see darkness or do we see something else?